The EU has seen increased sales of EVs in just the first 2 months of 2025, and quite a massive increase it is too, which is really good news for the EV manufacturers within Europe, because at the end of 2024 there was this mad scramble to form all these unions to try and buy credits from those who had plenty, which at that time was Tesla, because the way Tesla sales are going at the moment, they might not have that many to sell at the end of 2025 unless their sales really pick up. I'm Dave, this is Dave Takes It On. We're at a very sunny location in Yorkshire on the M62. This is Hartshead Moor. Really weird market. Nobody expected anything like this. So let's look at Europe. The overall market is down. Car market's down about 2%. Petrol and diesel down as well. The big surprise, battery electric vehicles, this is 100% electric. They are up over 37%, despite Tesla being down over 45%. Plug-in hybrid electric vehicles, they're down as well. They seem to be going out of fashion, but hybrids, they're sort of hovering in there. Now, when we look elsewhere in the world, we're finding a similar pattern, which is very unexpected. If we look at China, EV sales are booming and ICE sales are collapsing. Come back over to the UK. Haven't got February figures yet. They're due out any day now, but January figures, BEVs up 41%. Tesla sales, they haven't collapsed as many people thought they would. The figures for January 2025 are just a little bit down on January 2024 figures. So not collapsed, but not doing anything brilliant. Going over to the States, we were expecting all the Trump ideas and tariffs to get rid of EVs altogether. Hasn't happened. And so what we've seen over there, there's been a dramatic rise in EV sales in America. Now, part of this, we have to guess because we don't have exact data, but we're guessing that an awful lot of people in America want BEVs. This is 100% EVs. And so they're trying to get in quick before Trump stops the IRA. This is the Inflation Reduction Act, which is a $7,500 tax break to people buying 100% EVs. So they're fearing that that's going to come to an end. And so they want to get in quick before that happens. Whatever the reason, it really doesn't matter. People say in this country, oh, we're only getting EV sales because people are leasing or salary sacrificing. Does it actually matter why people are buying EVs? The net result is Europe, UK, America, China, Australia. There's a huge boom going on, and more and more and more people are now driving EVs than ever before. And it seems to be on the upward slope. The figures for 2025 are now projected to show a growth of about 25% for the whole year. And some people are already saying this is a bit pessimistic. It's likely to be higher. When we look at the targets that we have in the UK for 2024, we had a 20% target. That's now going up to 28% for 2025. And many of the manufacturers are now saying this is actually quite achievable. The figure for January was 25% of all new cars sold were actually BEVs. So we're well on target for hitting the 2025 target. What's going on in Europe, people ask, and the simple answer is we've got an absolute mass of budget EVs hitting the market last year and coming onto the market this year. And we've got cars like, we've got the Fiat Grand Panda, we've got the Citroen EC3, we've got the Dacia Spring, there's a mass of cars coming on, around about 25,000 euros. We've got the classic Renault 5, an iconic car that's achieving massive sales. There's an initial surge. I personally think it's going to peter out, that's my opinion, but it is popular at this stage. We've got others coming online, particularly Renault with the Renault 4, another iconic car, and the Renault Twingo. This is going to be about a €17,000 car. In the UK, where we haven't put on Chinese tariffs like Europe is threatening or has already done. So we are going to be getting the Chinese cars coming in. So things like the BYDs going to be coming in under £20,000 in the UK. By the way, a lot of people are correct. We have the highest rate of car tax for new cars in Europe. But we will be getting the Chinese cars in without tariffs. So we might well end up with some of the cheapest EVs in the whole of Europe. Now, I know a lot of people get very confused about this. Britain, UK is in Europe. We're not in the EU. Europe is a physical thing, and we are geographically within Europe. The EU is a political union. It is the European Union. It is a political union. It is a tariff-free agreement between member states. And not all countries within Europe are in the EU, the European Union. So countries like Norway, Switzerland, Iceland, they are within Europe, but not in the EU. So we have countries like Norway, which is not in the EU, but is within Europe, is one of the leading countries in the whole world for the percentage of cars, new cars sold, that are EV. They hit 93% in 2024. All new sales were EVs. And I think they're going this year for 100% of all new cars sold are going to be EVs. That's a huge achievement. People in Norway just simply stopped buying ICE cars. Other Nordic countries like Denmark and Sweden, they're following suit. In Norway, they don't have incentives anymore, no subsidies, no tax breaks towards just people over there just don't buy petrol or diesel cars or hybrids. They're just going for EVs. And same with China. People are just stopping buying ICE cars and just buying EVs. And so this is a trend that's going on. America is lagging behind. A lot of the tariffs that are coming in, intending to try and stop EVs, are actually disproportionately harming the ICE industry, the traditional, the Fords, the General Motors, the Stellantis, which are American-made, because America makes very few cars in America that are EVs. These are mostly made elsewhere, Mexico or Canada. And so we have a really weird situation at the moment that the ICE car sales are falling quite dramatically. The plug-in hybrids seem to have been recognized as the figures they were giving us for the efficiency are nowhere near what they actually achieve in the real world. Their sales are falling quite dramatically. And for a variety of reasons, the sale of pure 100% EVs are really climbing quite dramatically. I've been saying ever since the channel started, what we need is really cheap new EVs. And when I say cheap, I'm talking between £15,000 and £25,000, because this is where the bulk of the market is. If you look at the top 10 selling cars in Europe or the UK, it's all things like the VW Polo, what else? Toyota Corolla, the Dacia Sandero. It's all the smaller cars, the Citroen C1 and C2. It's all the really small cars that are under £20,000. These are your top 10 selling cars. And yet, when the EVs started selling, the cheapest you could buy was like £32,000. And that was for, wait for it, the Vauxhall Corsa EV. £32,000 for a Vauxhall Corsa EV when the petrol version was about £18,000. It was never going to sell. And that was what was holding the sale of EVs back. But we're now in the UK and Europe getting cars under £20,000. The Renault Twingo is going to come in at 17,000, and we now have a range of cars ranging from £15,000 in the UK right up to about £20,000, and we got a choice of about 10, 15, maybe 20 cars that we'll be able to buy this year, and these will be in direct competition with some of the petrol cars. This is what we've been waiting for. So this year, 2025, is a major turning point. These cars are coming in big time, and they're going to be a direct threat to the petrol and diesel and the hybrid cars, which we previously only had as an option to buy if that was our budget. So this year, with the increased targets in the UK as a percentage of new sales, and with the increased targets in Europe, with the CO2 targets they have over there, which is our equivalent, we're going to find out for the first time exactly how popular EVs are. And that's going to come from cars like the Vauxhall Frontera, because again, for the first time, in 2025, Vauxhall will release the Frontera in both hybrid and full EV at exactly the same price. So if the Vauxhall Frontera is your choice of car, you can now choose whether to get a hybrid or whether to get a full EV without a price penalty. And for the first time, all the negative people out there about saying EVs should stop subsidies and everything, this now is going to be the telling year. Will people with no price penalty choose a hybrid, or will they choose a full EV? The market this year is really, really dynamic. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens. So watch out for this and see if some of my projections will actually come true. Thanks very much for watching. I'm Dave. If you have enjoyed this, click the like button. If you'd like to see more, see whether my predictions fall flat or whether I'm pretty accurate, please subscribe so we can notify every time we release a video. I'm Dave.